What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. We hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and that you have been enjoying the 2023 NFL Draft. At the time of this video, the Dallas Cowboys are 4 picks in, and they now have a new member, the newest member, because they already had one, the newest member of their defensive line. With the 129th overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys selected San Jose State defensive lineman Viliami Jr. Fehoko, no relation to Simi Fehoko, but Dane Brugler's notes on Junior Fehoko. These are obviously all incredible things to read. You should subscribe to The Athletics. You can get Dane Brugler's Beast Guide. It is the thing that you have to have when it comes to the draft. That being said, physically and mentally tough, continuously tireless on pursuit, refined handwork with multiple techniques, great backfield production, although he is missing elite athleticism and length. If you look at the other Dallas Cowboys picks that we have seen to this point in the draft, Mazi Smith in the first round, Luke Schoonmaker in the second round, DeMarvion Overshown in the third round, all three of those selections had high athletic testing. Junior Fehoko, a little bit of a different sort of selection in that sense. And honestly, the more we talk about this, the more we kind of unpack it, the more it makes sense. We know that the Cowboys have an amazing defense, but we know that defense is subject to regression in the NFL. There's no perfect way to build an NFL team, but it makes sense that the Cowboys would want to build around the elite commodities that they have on the defensive side of the ball. We know that front line now includes names like Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Dorrance Armstrong, Mazi Smith in there. You've got Sam Williams, Dante Fowler came back. The Cowboys brought back Jonathan Hankins. The Cowboys still have Osa Odigizua, still have Neville Gallimore. Now you can obviously add Junior Fehoko to that mix, and the Cowboys desperately have to get better at stopping the run. We talked about this obviously in the immediate aftermath of the Mazi Smith pick, but that is their weakness. That is their Achilles heel. You can be awesome at generating turnovers. You can be awesome at sacking the quarterback, but if you cannot stop the run, NFL teams will not even put you in a position to where you can stop the pass. The Green Bay Packers were down double digits against the Cowboys in the fourth quarter and did not panic. Do you know how many passes Aaron Rodgers completed in that game? 14. The Dallas Cowboys were susceptible and have been susceptible to the run, even while being one of the best defenses in the NFL. I think the archetype that we want to look at is the San Francisco defense. They are perhaps the best defense in the NFL. They have an amazing pass rusher, obviously, in Nick Bosa, but they're able to stifle the run. You cannot do anything against them. They added Javon Hargrave this offseason. Look at that. I think that is the image of what the Cowboys are trying to build. And Junior Fehoko goes a long way. There's conversation about how the Cowboys could ask him to put on some weight, have him play some 3 technique, give them another option there. You look at the defensive tackle position as a whole. Neville Gallimore obviously is in a contract year. We're a long ways away from the Cowboys treating the interior of the defensive line, the run stuffing part of their defensive line, as an afterthought. Think about it. It was just 3 years ago that the Cowboys signed Dontari Poe and Gerald McCoy in free agency. And I recognize that those are true defensive tackles, and we're talking about Junior, who is a defensive end. But overall, this makes sense. This makes sense. And I understand that we want a wide receiver. I understand that we want a running back. I understand we want help for the interior of the offensive line. But it is very clear, it is very obvious now that we are 4 picks in that what the Cowboys are trying to do. They are trying to tighten up things. They're trying to make sure they are not going to get gashed for 200 yards a game, that they're not going to be had on the ground. I think you can see that obviously the Luke Schoonmaker pick doesn't support that because he plays offense, but it looks like the Cowboys want to add that beef, want to add those run-stopping players so they don't find themselves in positions that they were. We talk about so much about how the Cowboys lost to the 49ers in the divisional round, how once Tony Pollard got hurt, how they lacked explosive players. And that's true, right? They had CeeDee Lamb, and that wasn't enough. And that's why they traded for Brandon Cooks. Obviously hopeful for Michael Gallup coming back. But the Cowboys also could not stop the run. And I recognize that San Francisco didn't have to run a ton, but that was their identity. The Cowboys have not been able to do that against that specific team 2 years in a row. Overall, I think this pick is, I graded the DeMarvion Overshown pick in and of itself as an A-. I might go B+, A-, kind of that same sort of territory. This fits what the Cowboys want to do. He does not have the same athletic testing that DeMarvion Overshown does. So I do think I'll probably knock it down to a B+. But all told, it's hard to be really upset. It's fair to be skeptical, I think, with what the Cowboys are doing because it's hard to see the forest through the trees, but the Cowboys very clearly have a path. And I think that was something that we didn't totally identify after Friday night's picks. We couldn't really see the image they were trying to build. But now that we are 4 picks in, it is very obvious that the Cowboys want to build around Micah Parsons. And considering he is one of the best players in the NFL, I think that's probably a pretty good idea. Our draft coverage rolls on here on the Blog of the Boys YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Twitch. Make sure you subscribe here if that wasn't obvious. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, check out blogontheboys.com, and of course, subscribe to the Blog of the Boys podcast feed. If you want to follow me, I am on Twitter and Instagram at RJ Ochoa, on TikTok, RJ.Ochoa. You can send me an email if you would like, rj.ochoa at sbnation.com, or you can leave a comment down below, and we will do our best to get to those. We have round 5, 6, and 7 coverage, depending on when you watch this, coming out live on Saturday afternoon, April 29th. We will have a recorded video that we put up for you here, recapping all of the undrafted free agents, that the Cowboys have. It's a weekend full of a lot of talking. Yeah, I hope you have some fun. I hope you join us. But if you don't, hey, no hard feelings. We love you all. Thanks for hanging out, everybody.